welcome back. I am Taryn.
And I'm Sieglinde. Welcome to Art Sparks with Taryn and Sieglinde.
Okay, so I don't want you guys to get bored with us, so we're gonna do something. We're gonna do Art Sparks visits. Two reasons. One, it will be for have another person we can talk about art, and you can get more into the other point of view of different artists and get into the world of another artist, okay? On the art world, okay? So to start, instead of going outside, the first time we're gonna go do it at home, okay? So we're gonna be
we have an in-house Art Spark visit.
Yes. Who's going to start today? Sieglinde!
Well, thank you.
So, in order to make it interesting about what is it art about, let's start with the really good questions, okay?
I'm in the hot seat. Okay, let's do it.
All right. So, it would be good to know, for us to know, when did you decide to be an artist?
Oh my God, that is such an interesting question. Would you believe me if I told you that art chose me and not the other way around? Seriously, I was not the talented kid in school who couldn't stop drawing. I was not supported by my parents, let alone my art teachers in school to develop my talents, quite the opposite. Mm-hmm. But then something kept pulling me in. First of all, my mom was an artist, right? But she told me that I had the brains and I needed to go study and leave the art for others. Then I had an uncle who was an artist. And as a little girl, I was just so mesmerized to be in his studio all the time. It's like when I was there in that energy, like it just felt so good, right? And then here's how art started choosing me. So when I was in college in Belgium studying economics, I happened to have a landlady who was an artist. And I always had to draw to art, right? But you know, if people tell you you're not good at it, then after a while you just start believing it, right? And you're not good at it. But then this landlady one night, she taught me to draw perspective. And so for the next few months, I would sit on the windowsill of my room, my college room, and I would just draw the roofs and the little yards of all the houses that I saw below me, right? And then she would tell me like, hey, this is pretty good. Hey, you got it. Hey, this, hey, that. So I had my private art teacher in-house. And then I read this book about the life of Camille Claudel, who was the lover and the muse of Auguste Rodin, the sculptor. And again, like I so identified with it, right? And it was like, oh my God, but this is me, But I was studying economics. Now, 1 year after I graduated and I moved to the US with my then husband, I could not work for a couple of years. I didn't have a work permit. As luck may have it, because I didn't know anybody here and I couldn't work, I went to a fitness class in the corporate apartment property that we stayed at for the first few months. I started talking to this woman who said to me, hey, I'm starting a beginning drawing class next week in San Francisco. Do you want to come with me? I'm like, hell yes. And so I ended up doing the entire art studio certificate at UC Berkeley Extension. And then, and it turns out I could draw and I could do all this stuff, right? And then I ended up getting my master's in fine arts from San Jose State University with 2 kids in tow. And then my personal life turned upside down and I thought, oh my God, that's it. I can't be an artist anymore. I have to be an economist again. I have to go get a 9-to-5 job, you know. And then one week before I started a full-time job, I went to the mailbox and I opened this letter and there was a check inside with a few zeros. And I thought, oh, how weird is that, right? And I thought the letter would say, accept the fine print and we'll send you the real check. And that's not what it said. The check said, hey, our secret scouts found your work and we really believe in you and in your future artistic merit. So I received this grant. I think I cried for hours because here I just thought, oh my God, I can't be an artist again. And then 1 week before I start this full-time job, I received this grant that tells me, we believe in your future artistic merit. So I saw it as a sign, okay, I need to go stabilize my life again, just put the art on the back burner and then come back to it. And this happened continuously. Every time I get distracted or I think I need to go do something else, then an exhibition opportunity or a grant or something happens that pulls me right back in, as if to say like, are you about to listen now? Or how many more distractions are you going to take on? So that's why I say art chose me and not the other way around. Although I like it. I mean, I chose it too, but it has a knack of pulling me in, pulling me in, pulling me in.
Oh, that's so nice. Okay, like it reminds you, like, yes, what is important to you? Yeah, that's fabulous. I like it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Now tell me, what inspires you? What is your inspiration in your work? What is it you use to inspire you?
You know what? I really credit my immigration story with the main inspiration about my work. Let me explain. So when I came here in spring '98, I came here as an insecure newlywed with a very conservative master degree, right? And I had a solid background and I thought I knew who I was, right? And then very quickly I realized that I could not just transplant Sieglinde Europe into Sieglinde US, because even though they were both Western capitalist countries, they were very different. Mm-hmm. So in a way, not consciously at the time, right? But in hindsight, in a way, I had to reimagine who I could be on this side of the ocean. And it started with very little things, right? Like, oh, for this, I really like the US mentality or the US approach or the US belief system or the US value. I'm like, I'm taking the value from the US. Oh, for that, oh my God, I'm European through my core. I'm taking that. And so you become this hybrid. And it's very little things, and then it gets into bigger things. Now, what I didn't realize is that those things that were happening in my life were actually also being explored in my artwork. Mm-hmm. And for instance, it was an instructor at UC Berkeley Extension that said to me, Sieglinde, it's so interesting. Like there's always two sides in your artwork, as if there's like two people in your body and they're fighting to see which one wants to come out. And at the time I thought it was the artist and the economist. But then later on, I realized, no, it was really just like, it's who can I be here? It's more the Sieglinde in the US and the Sieglinde in Europe, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so going further, then I also started exploring lens-based media, video and photo work, fine art photo. And then I would like take silly things like Scotch tape or a piece of yarn, right? And I would take it out of context and blow it up and make a video out of it. And then I would say, okay, what are you looking at? And it wouldn't look like Scotch tape anymore, and it wouldn't look like yarn anymore. So it was really like taking things out of context and giving them a new life, or using film photography and, mm-hmm. and remember the times when you forgot to wind your film? I would do it on purpose to create a new scene so that you couldn't tell the different scenes anymore. So it was like, it was really like constantly creating this new reality for things that you took for granted, or things that you didn't even question.
Okay, so the two places, so that where you come, so they're like two different identities coming on together.
Yeah, into this hybrid form, right? Like it was happening in my life, but it was also happening in my artwork.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's really continued from there. Everything I do, like in the photography, in the videos, in the paintings, it's really about what else can this be?
So it's all right. So it's really deep in this, in the way that it's your type of art, it's your personality, and the things that are, and the two points of view, the two ways of looking at it, or to use in one. Wow, it's
kind of what you said earlier was really good. It's like two identities converging, but it goes even beyond that. It's really like, don't just accept whatever is in front of you. Like, go outside the box, open your mind. What else? Reimagine what else is possible is my mantra.
okay.
You know, for so many things. Like, I live and breathe that mantra in my artwork, in my life, in the way I think, in what I do. My poor kids, they just roll with it.
Well, I think that's happened when you're doing art for a while. Yes, it's what you have to do. You have to take it out. Everything has to be coming from you in order to be able to express yourself originally and being yourself. Yes, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you like best about what you do?
I think it is that experimentation and that playing and that coming up with something new. I mean, not new, groundbreaking new, but almost like intellectually new, like almost like challenging myself, surprise myself, and then hopefully surprise you and inspire from what I do. For instance, so we just talked about the intellectual identity, right? But I also do that with technique. I love learning new techniques, right? I even, like, for a while, I created this whole body of work with 19th century photo processes, right? So I learned that stuff, right? And then I think, okay, now that I understand the technique and I know the rules, what else can I do with this, right? How can I break the rules? How can I get this to the next level? And for instance, I ended up teaching the 19th century photo process class at San Jose State University. And on the first day of class, I told the students, why are you here? Oh my God, I mean, we got digital printers and why would we learn a 19th century photo process? And they all thought I was nuts, right? Like, does she want us to quit the class or what? And then I said, okay, here's the deal. Anything goes in this class except make the perfect copy of a 19th century photograph. Meaning we're in the 21st century, learn the technique and then take it to the next level. And I told them, like, if you push the boundaries of this medium and you experimented and you played and you have a failed project, I still give you an A because of the attitude. But if you give me the perfect 19th century photograph that perfectly follows a technique, not gonna happen. And so this class was on fire. Oh. We even got this huge, I covered this one wall in paper, and I said that was the experimentation cloud. And if somebody would come in after class and experiment with something, they were supposed to write it down. And then other people would come in at other times and they could read what other people did. And then they could draw a circle around it, like, hey, I did this and then I did that with it. And that was the result. And it so became this group experimentation. And nice. So that drive and that attitude to, like, get it to the next level, come up with something new, and then inspire others, right? Like to do the same, that drive. Oh my God, I get excited just thinking about it. It's really like what makes me come alive.
Nice. Well, see, I think about creativity is that you have to use it often. The ones you do with it, and in here when you're doing with yourself, and then when you do it with somebody else, that you start building up, and then you have more ideas. So then you share the ideas, and that's fabulous.
Exactly. It's like creativity on steroids. What's not to like?
So, is that what makes you different, or what makes you different from other artists?
Is that what makes me different? Well, maybe I should ask you what makes you different, because it's always easier for somebody else to see it than for you to see it, right? But if, from my point of view, I think what makes me different is like the visual aesthetic and the intellectual meaning behind it. The beauty and the meaning, they're equally important to me. So some people will respond to my work like in an instant, right? Like either they like it or they don't, and that's fine, right? But then if you invite me to go deeper with you, there's always like some deeper thought, something that I've been observing, something that I was reading, something that I've been brewing on. Because you see, all my artwork really is, it mimics the multi-layered dynamics of life, not just my own, but also what I observe around me, right? And so the visual beauty, the visual aesthetics, the pleasing part is really important for me. But then it, like, you can bet on it that there's always something that I brewed on intellectually, and that is in there. I don't know if it's my left brain, right brain. I mean, because I was raised to be a left brain, but then I turned out more to be a right brain, and now I'm formally trained in both. So I think they both need to channel their energy in the same direction. So yeah, it's the visual beauty and the intellectual meaning, and then leading to the positive inspiration. It is really important to me as well that my artwork inspires or is a reminder, not with positive affirmations or quotes or social activism, but just in either it lifts you up because it's visually enlightening, or there's a deeper meaning that resonates with you, and that is a reminder for you to embrace it.
See?
That would be my response.
Okay, so not just see the surface, okay? There's a lot of deep.
Oh, you can just, I mean, once my work leaves the studio, I have no control over how it is received or accepted. So I very much welcome people who appreciate it surface level, and I equally appreciate people who want to go deeper. Like both are fine for me.
Okay, so see, they have options. So what is that you're trying to say then?
Right. So as I mentioned before, my mantra in my work and the same in my life is really reimagine what else is possible. Like what I explained with the technique. But if you then bring it back to life, right? It's like this continuous loop, this circle, right? It feeds into each other, fuels each other. So it's more like open your mind, empower your mind, think differently, challenge yourself, ask questions. For instance, right? Look at your own life. Is there something that you can look at differently? Is there another choice? Is there another possibility that you haven't really considered yet? A choice you're not seeing yet? How can something be different? How can you be different, right? Back to those identities. And then, and yeah, it's like always like, don't just take the status quo for what it is. Like really, I don't know, like open mind, empower your minds, and almost like dare to go there. Okay. And so in terms of art, it's safe, right? And so in that sense, my artwork can just be a reminder, right? You don't have to like go out and turn your whole life upside down or reinvent yourself, right? Because you watch this artist spark visit, art spark visit, but it's a muscle, it's a muscle to open your mind and to empower your mind and to see things differently and to think outside the box and what else is possible, and don't just accept the limitations that are put in front of you, because there's always another choice, even if you don't see it yet, and there's always another possibility. You may have even already dismissed the one that is going to end up being the best one for you, and so that is what I want to say, or that is what I want my work to be a reminder of.
All right. So that is what you want to say to the world.
It's like this is actually a beautiful thing. So when I was younger back in Belgium, I dated this guy, and one day he said to me, Sieglinde, you always have to move forward in life. If you're standing still or if you move backward, you got to grab life and move it. And he really made those movements with his hands. And he forgot that he ever said that to me, but it really stuck with me and it really made me who I am today. And I think that attitude of like, hey, if you're in a situation that you don't like, you can change it. I mean, explore the possibilities, because you always need to move forward in life. And I think, again, so between my life and my artwork has been this loop of how to do that in the safe space of art in my life. And then towards other people, I hope it can serve as an inspiration. Like, hey, you know, it's a good attitude to always want to move forward in life. And if you're stuck somewhere or there's something that you don't like, sit down for a moment. How can you change it for the better? How can you move forward? How you
can see the possibilities?
Open your mind. What else is possible? You know, or it's like a friend once told me, like, yeah, Sieglinde, you figured out life outside the box, and you said, I'm not going back in there.
I'm pushing it away, okay?
You know what? The instructions are on the outside of the box. So if you want to make life better, if you want to move forward, you got to go read the instructions. But again, it's a muscle. It's a creative muscle. And so yeah, that's why I share my work, for the beauty, the meaning, and the positive inspiration. And you can accept them on all three levels, or you can choose the one that resonates with you most, or maybe, you know, you flow from one into another. I mean, we all evolve. I started with just creating beautiful artwork, and then it became more about intellectual meaning, and the two combined. And then it was like, oh my God, but this is like, I want people to be inspired. I want people to like feel good about themselves and be happy and live their best life. And if my attitude and towards my life and that I put in my artwork can inspire you to do the same, oh my God, then mission accomplished.
Yes, which is the fabulous thing about doing that, don't you think?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So if you're curious about her work, we're gonna put the link to her website, and you know, it's always in here on the website. Anything else you want to say?
No, thank you, Taryn. I mean, these were really awesome questions, and it's fun to be able to share the story behind the artwork instead of talking about the pretty colors and the lines and the shapes or the scene. And this is really good. Thank you.
I'm glad. Well, see, I'm glad that we can be able to also get inside of your mind behind everything that you do, which is so good, because that makes us realize or see what is your art all about.
I can't wait to hear your story.
Some things are really different. Sometimes we're really easy. You say the same. All right. Well.
All right. That's us. That's it for this week.
Yes. Thank you for watching, and we're going to back soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye.